Well, briefly, let me explain to you how sheep and cattle are stunned in New Zealand. In both cases, with sheep and cattle, we do a head-only stun where electricity is passed through the brain by either placing electrodes from a handheld device in the case of sheep, or with cattle we have electrodes that go from nose to neck. Electricity passes across the brain and renders the animal instantly unconscious. As far as Muslim conditions are concerned within New Zealand, the primary requirement is the animal should be alive. The electric stun, when it passes across the head, is a brain stun only, so it renders the animal unconscious but doesn't stop the heart. Unless there's intervention of some description, namely a thoracic stick or a throat cut, the animal will fully recover. It is unconscious but will fully recover. Yes, exactly. As I said previously, with sheep we use a handheld device usually, which puts electrodes across the brain. With cattle, because they're larger, the electric stun is done in a cattle box where the current is passed from a nose electrode to neck clamps. This electric stun is based very much on scientific research. The MIRINS, which is the Meat Industry Research Institute of New Zealand, researched electric stunning as far back as the early 70s, and with cattle the electric stun was developed early 80s, primarily actually because we had a need to supply halal markets overseas. The meat is halal approved in that the primary requirement is that the animal should be alive when the Muslim butcher cuts its throat, so he's the person who actually slaughters the animal. With head-only stunning, recovery is guaranteed. The head stun does not stop the heart, so by that very nature it is approved for halal slaughter. Most New Zealand plants are halal approved, and the reason for that is they need to be able to export to a range of countries. We export to Malaysia, Indonesia, China. Yes, in fact the meat from New Zealand plants is sold as halal approved, and it goes specifically to halal markets. Electric stunning was introduced in New Zealand in the early 70s, primarily for animal welfare issues. Up until then, there was no pre-slaughter stunning. So electric stunning was developed for welfare reasons. And it wasn't until we got involved in the halal market that it was modified to suit Muslim conditions. So pre-slaughter stunning for all stock has been mandatory in New Zealand for nearly 40 years. I was somewhat surprised to learn that it's not done here in Belgium.